Hi, my name is Aya. You're watching Aya Reads, and I'm here to introduce a vlog I'm very excited about, and it's reading werewolf books. So I have made it no secret on my channel, but werewolves are my favorite paranormal creature. And the sole reason for that, let me actually, sorry. The sole reason for that is with werewolves, you not only get like a love interest, you also get the whole pack, which makes it not only a love story, but also a found family story. And I love those. Yeah, I love that. Even in Twilight, as much as even the Cullens were their own sort of found family, but I did really love the werewolf part where Jacob had like this whole entire like pack and they could talk to each other in their heads. I love that. So yeah, that's why werewolves or like shifters are definitely my favorite paranormal creatures, especially if they have their own pack. So in this video, I'm going to be reading 3 werewolf stories, 2 from one series. And I did want to do like 3 different series, but as much as it pains me, I really need to limit the series I'm starting this year. So I just decided to do it this way. So the first one I'm going to be reading is going to be a reread, and it's going to be Wolfsong by TJ Klune. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I love it so much. It is like up there with my favorite books of all time. But I've never reread it. So I'm definitely going to be doing that this vlog. So Wolfsong, for those of you who don't know, you follow Ox and Joe. And when they first meet, Ox is 16, Joe is 10. And Joe immediately smells his mate, but they both don't know what that entails, or like Ox doesn't even know about werewolves. So when they grow up, feelings start developing, but then something tragic happens and Joe leaves for 3 years, leaving Ox heartbroken. And then once Joe is in his 20s, that's when the real love story starts. I love it. I love it so much. And one of the things I love most about it is the whole pack dynamic. I think TJ Klune really knows how to write the pack dynamic very well. So that's why I really want to read Ravensong too. I've never read Ravensong. Around the time Wolfsong came out is when TJ Klune got picked up by a traditional publisher, and then just buying the ebooks, I just felt like let's just wait for the hardcovers. Although I do think now, once I finish Ravensong, I will be continuing on through ebook. Here you follow Gordo and Mark. Gordo is a witch. Mark is a werewolf. Mark is actually Joe's uncle in this book. And this is a second chance romance. They used to be together. Then Mark left. Gordo has never been able to forgive him. And I'm pretty sure they're going to come together in this story. Actually, not, I'm pretty sure. I'm actually filming this after I have already read every single one of these books. But anyway, and then last is going to be Raised by Wolves. This fulfills 2 things for me. 1, it's a werewolf story, but 2, it is a book published before 2014. And I've been meaning to read those, to get those off my shelves. So this, you follow a girl whose parents were killed by a werewolf, and another werewolf takes her into his pack. So she is raised by wolves, and there's this other werewolf in the mix that she's gonna have a romance with. So yes, like I said, I've already read them, but definitely look out for the rest of this vlog to see all my thoughts on these books. Okay, so I started my reread for Wolfsong, and I am loving it so much. It is so good. Like, I feel like I'm back home. That is what it feels like. Even though this is like only the second time I read it, but I don't know, TJ Klune's writing style, these characters, they are so good. In fact, every time I think about this book, I just think about how it breaks my heart, which actually I am right now on page 179. And I'm pretty sure the heartbreak is about to commence. But I forgot how many funny moments there are at the beginning, which makes sense because obviously the heartbreak is bad because you love these characters so much. So I knew TJ Klune did very well on the whole, pack dynamic and character relationships, but I forgot how many fun moments there are, especially here where Joe is asking Ox out officially, and his family is sitting outside beneath the window, just listening to it and making commentary. That was just hilarious to me, and I loved it so much. I'm loving my reread. Seriously, if you've not read Wolfsong yet, I would highly recommend it. It is an interesting writing style because these wolves, like, I don't think I can describe it, but, he repeats words a lot when they're talking to the wolves and stuff, or the wolves are talking. I don't know, it just endears me to it. It makes sense for the story, and I love it. And I'm very excited to read the rest of the series. I don't know how I stopped myself 2 years ago from continuing on. Although I do have to say, Wolfsong is something special. I don't know if the other books will compare, but I guess we'll see. Like I said, I know heartbreak will ensue in momentarily, so I'm kind of preparing myself for that. Today, I'm planning on going to Waterstones in Amsterdam, which is, I think, about half an hour away from where I live. So that will give me an hour to read. I will 100% read this book on the tram. So hopefully when I get back, I'll have read a good chunk and will have started the sad period in this book. And I think I'll take you guys along. If I can film there, I definitely will. Because I saw that the Bone season has an anniversary edition out. I don't own Bone season, and I really want to read it. And hopefully I'll find the one that's signed by the author in Waterstones. And then I want to go to, for those of you who know Amsterdam, the Drie Graafjes. They have my favorite red velvet cake. I don't think I'm going to get the cake. Well, if they have one slice, I'll buy it. But otherwise, I'll get the cupcakes. Hopefully they have them. They're my favorite. And I feel like, since I've been so sick, I feel like I deserve this treat. So yeah, that is my plans for today. And hopefully I can take you guys along with. And I really need to clean my apartment. I already did a bit of cleaning. I cleaned my kitchen a little bit. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed by the state of my house at the moment. So the only thing you're gonna see are my beautiful bookshelves. But other than that, I do really need to clean. I don't know if I can finish this book today. I really hope I can, because I want to get a move on, because I have a lot of books on my TBR. And I just want to get to the happy part as soon as I can. So yes. Also, I talked about this book in my Books I Cannot Stop Thinking About, My Roman Empire. And you didn't see that, but I talked about this song that I was listening to while reading this book for the first time. And as I was filming it, I was trying to look up the song, but I couldn't find it. I finally found it. It's Peppa's by something Faruko or something, I don't know. But I'm so happy I found that song again, because I'm 100% going to be listening to it. I have been listening to it while reading this book. Although I do have to say, I rarely listen to music while I'm at home reading. But since the first time I read this, aren't these sprayed edges just so beautiful? I really wanted to tab it, but I feel like it's way too beautiful to tab. So I actually ordered another edition that I'm going to tab. Anyway, going back to my first tangent. Like I said, I rarely listen to music while I'm at home reading. But the first time I read this book, I was commuting to and from work. And that is when I listened to that song a lot. And now I have about an hour commute. So I'm definitely going to be listening to that song and reading on the tram. And I'm very much looking forward to that. So yes, I guess I don't know if I can update you, because this is non-spoiler, so I cannot tell you a whole lot about it. But I think I'll definitely update you before the ending. And hopefully, see, I have a hard time crying in books. But usually with rereads, I do tend to cry. At least for Cricket Kingdom, I cried. So hopefully I can cry and film it. But I guess we'll see. Although, if I'm reading it on the train or the tram, I don't think I'm going to cry in public. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm back. I didn't film at the bookstore or at the cake store, but I'll show you the cakes I got right now. All right. Let's reveal magic. Yum! This is edible gold right here. Delish. So delicious. I bought 4. I'm not going to eat 4 today. I think I'm going to eat 2 today and tomorrow too. I'm going to live my best life. The reason I didn't film is, I don't know. First of all, I kind of forgot, but I also think I'm way too self-conscious. Plus, I'd have to figure out how to add music to my videos, and I don't know how to do that. But I can show you that I did buy the Bone Season, the 10th anniversary edition, which I never read the Bone Season, and I don't own it. Well, I mean, I own it now, but I never owned it. And it's signed. Let me show you. And I don't know what the new material is, but I don't care. I don't know. The Bone Season has been getting so many mixed reviews that I guess I never took the plunge and read it. It has always been on my radar as a book that I would have loved to read. So now with this edition and the fact that it's signed, I figured let's just take the plunge. Also, I almost cried in the tram because I forgot that another sad thing happened. I kind of blocked that out of my mind. And like the tears were like my eyes were already misting up. So that's a good sign. Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling I am gonna cry. But yeah, I'm actually, as I'm filming this, I'm also filming another vlog, which is the Manacled reading vlog, which is also a fucking sad book, although I've only read one chapter. And I told myself for every 100 pages I read from Wolfsong, I had to read a chapter from Manacled. So I'm gonna, at a very sad part, gonna stop, read Manacled, and then come back. And yeah, I guess we're gonna see. Definitely pause this video now and leave your guesses. Do you think I will cry or do you not think I will cry? And then we'll see throughout the video if I will cry. Guys, I'm so excited. I found the indie original cover for Wolfsong. Oh my God, I'm so happy. I am so fucking happy about this. So I was perusing Amazon because I own, I think I showed you the other day, the Waterstones exclusive edition for Wolfsong, which has very beautiful sprayed edges that I didn't want to tab, but this is one of my favorite books of all time, so I did really want to tab it. So I was looking on Amazon to see if I could find maybe the paperback version of the traditionally published Wolfsong, or maybe another hardcover. I mean, I own multiple editions of my favorite books, so I didn't mind it for Wolfsong. Plus, it's actually going to be my third edition because I did have another edition. Years ago, when I read it first on ebook, I was looking up and trying to see if they had the indie version available, but since he just got picked up by a traditional publisher, I didn't find it. So I ordered one, and it was like a tiny mass market paperback, and I didn't want to mark that one up as well. So I figured let's just try and find, like I said, the paperback version or something, another version of the book, a regular version of the traditional published book, because I figured the indie one is nowhere to be found. So I was looking at it, and I was looking at the paperbacks, and I found that they had this cover, and I was like, you know what? And then I looked up the ESBN, and it seemed to be the indie one. So I figured, let's just order it and see what arrives. because I was gonna buy another version anyway. And this arrived and I'm so happy. As much as I do love the traditional published one, this I always loved. I love the paw prints. So I am like the happiest camper in the world. I am so fucking happy. And I actually was looking for the other books in the indie paperbacks and I didn't have it. Anyway, I'm also here to update you and tell you that I finished it and I loved it just as much as I did the first time around, maybe even more. I fucking love this book. If you've not read this book, I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. It is so beautiful. I love the way, like I said, I already said it, but I love the way TJ Klune writes the pack dynamics. He wrote them perfectly. I love Ox. I love Joe. It is such a heartbreaking book and it just broke me. I did cry. I don't know if you could see that in that clip I posted. It was beautiful. I loved it. It has solidified itself in my mind and in my heart as one of my favorite books of all time. I already felt that way. If you watched my favorite books ever video, it's on there. But obviously, always, if you've only read a book one, I mean, at least for me, every time I tell myself a book is my favorite book, if I've only read it once, I cannot say with 100% certainty that that is the case. And right now, after rereading it, it is 100% certain that it is my favorite book. I cannot, the only thing I want to do right now is read Ravensong. But I think I'm going to pace myself a little bit because right now it's Wednesday. And I think I'm going to commute to work as opposed to going on my bike. So that means I want to bring a book with or read it on ebook. And I know Raised by Wolves is on Scribd, so I can read it on ebook then. And I don't mind bringing Raised by Wolves as hardcover, whereas Ravensong, I don't want to risk damaging it. So I think and plus, since this is such heartbreak, and I know Ravensong is going to break my heart too, I'm going to read Raised by Wolves next, and then hopefully this weekend I can really dive into Ravensong. So I started Raised by Wolves and I'm about 100 pages in, 107, chapter 9, and I am fucking loving it. It is so good. So this was published in 2010, and for those of you who don't know, I have a reading challenge of reading books that are on my shelves that have been published before 2014, and usually I either DNF them or I give them like 3 or 4 stars. Okay, so I'm only 1/4 of the way through, so I don't know for sure, but right now I am loving this so much. This just solidifies the fact for me that I really like werewolf stories are just my jam. I love it. I love it in here as well. The pack dynamics, the alphaness, okay, just all of that I love. So basically this book, you follow a girl named Bryn, and when she was 4, her parents were killed by a rogue werewolf. And then she was taken in by Callum, who is one of the biggest, baddest alphas. And he gave her to another human woman to raise. And both of them are kind of part of their pack. I believe they're the only... Oh, no. So in this world, werewolf women are not... Like, they are very rare. She actually explains that unless a baby girl is part of a twin and she has a twin brother, she will not survive the first trimester, I think. Like I said, the biggest, baddest alpha brings her into his pack. So she's human. And she kind of, part of her doesn't want to be part of the pack. So she kind of closes herself off to, because just like in Wolfsong, if she wants to, she's able to hear the rest of the pack and they are able to hear her, but she doesn't want that. Until one day, she goes exploring and she finds a boy trapped in a cage. And she finds out that he is a werewolf that has been turned. And she thought that that was impossible. And now she's very intrigued by him. And like I said, I'm already loving it. Like, I don't know what it is about werewolf stories. I just love them. I do know what it is. It is the fact that, like, the whole pack dynamics, I love that aspect of werewolves. I find the writing style very easy to read. I don't really find this too dated, even though it was written in 2010. Like, I'm flying through it. And yeah, I am really enjoying my time. So far, like, the first 100 pages is definitely a 5-star for me. I'm intrigued to see what I think of the rest of the book. And obviously, she's going to fall in love with this boy trapped in a cage. And I'm really interested to see how, like, that love story, how Jennifer Lynn Barnes handles that. This is my first Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I know she wrote The Naturals and what's it called? The Knives Out book. It's not called Knives Out. Let me see. The Inheritance Games. Those are pretty popular series by her. I've not read those yet. But yeah, so far, I'm really enjoying this book. And this just proves to me, like, I had a theory that of all those books that were published before 2014, I was going to love the paranormal ones the most. So far, this is proving to be true. And I didn't realize that this was a series, actually. There's 3 books. It's a trilogy. They're all on script. So I'm actually reading, when I'm commuting, I'm reading it on script. And if I really love this, I will continue on and read them on script. So yeah, this is, I guess, my update. All right, I finished Raised by Wolves by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And in the last update, I told you this might be a 5-star book. I ended up giving it 3 stars, unfortunately. I do have to say, I did really love the beginning, like when I updated you first. I love the whole pack dynamics. I love the whole werewolf lore. I love the possessiveness of these wolves. I wouldn't really love that in real life, but reading about it, that's just my id. I love it. Things that brought this book down for me was the romance. What romance? Like, I know usually with mates stories, it doesn't make any sense. Like, usually they just see each other. It's very insta love. But to me, at least something should be explained. Like, for example, in Wolfsong, it was clear that they were mates because Joe was smelling his mate. Like, he could have described perfectly why Ox smelled so different from any other person. So that, to me, that is a reasoning. Whereas in this, there wasn't a reason. They just saw each other twice, and all of a sudden, they would die for each other, and it was never explained. Like, just give me a reason, even if it's a dumb reason. And I guess at the very end, she sort of explained it, but to me, that didn't explain away why Chase was specifically her mate. And also, it was lackluster. There was one kiss between them. I didn't feel any chemistry whatsoever. Some things were very good, very well explained, like the whole reason why there's rarely any female werewolves, why they're so rare, why they are so cherished. You know, some things were explained, but then other things, especially towards the end of the book, where she kind of meets people who are similar to her, that was not that well explained. So I did definitely think the first half of this book was stronger than the second half. And I was debating, because this is a trilogy. At one point, I did want to continue on, but once I finished it, I was like, I don't think I'm going to enjoy the rest of the 2 books, because what I really loved, like the setting and like the family dynamics, I know we're not going to have that in the second and third book. So I'm fine. I did enjoy my time. It's still 3 stars. Like I said, I did thoroughly enjoy the first half of this book, and I don't regret reading it, but I don't think I'm going to continue on, and I don't think I would recommend it. Honestly, if you're going to read a werewolf story, just read the Green Creek series. Definitely read Wolfsong. I think if this was any other supernatural creature, I might have loved it even less. I might have given it 2 stars, but the fact that it is werewolves and it is very familiar to me, I think that is what made me really like it. So I think if you love werewolves as much as I do, I would recommend it. But if they're not even your favorite paranormal creature, then I would definitely not recommend this book. While I was reading these books, by the way, as I'm reading these books, I have different shelves on my Goodreads for my TBR. And usually I just have like paranormal or contemporary, and I don't really do subgenres like I have for sports romances, because I feel like there's so many sports romances out there, but usually I don't really do subgenres. Like, for example, I have a dark romance shelf, but I don't really have a specific mafia romance. Since I do really love werewolf stories and shifter stories, I did decide to make another shelf and put all my paranormal books that are werewolves or shifter in some way also in that shelf. And right now I have 83. I have not completed putting everything on that shelf. And actually I'm gonna look on Goodreads to see if there are more werewolf or shifter stories that I'm interested in, because I do want to make an effort to read more of them. I don't just want to read these books during Halloween, because like I said, I really love reading about werewolves and shifters. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna put all those books on their own shelves, and I'm gonna try to read at least one werewolf story a month. I don't know if that's possible. And most of them are series, which makes me even happier. But yeah, Raised by Wolves. I am glad this is, I can tick off one book that was published before 2014, because this was published before 2010. And I am sad in a way, because I was hoping for at least a 4 stars. But I do have to say, this didn't really feel all that dated to me. Like the love story maybe, but while reading it, I was like, this could have been written, like this could have been a YA book written in 2018, and I would have believed you too. And I did really enjoy Jennifer Lynn Barnes's writing style. So The Naturals is on my TBR, and I will definitely read that at some point. But alas, unfortunately, but I do think that if this romance had been a little bit stronger, this would have definitely been at least a 4 stars. But oh well, what can you do? Now actually I'm going to pick up Ravensong, and I'm very excited about it. I've never read Ravensong. Let me actually grab it. So this is what it looks like naked. And I do really love this cover. Yeah, and I was flipping through it a little bit, and they are retreading things that happened in Wolfsong. Because in Wolfsong, there's a big chunk where Joe and Ox are separated, and you follow Joe in that book, or you follow Ox in that book, so you never really find out what happened with Joe. And I think in this book, I don't think he's gonna tread through everything they did once they were away, but I do think that we're gonna read about them being away and what they did a little bit, which I'm very interested in. So yes, I'm just living my werewolf dreams right here. I'm just like, I love werewolf stories. I do. I think they're so. I know a lot of people love vampires, and I get that, but for me, it's werewolves all the way. Even with Raised by Wolves, even though the pack dynamics, Bryn didn't really love them, but to me, it just felt like home. Like to me, she just wanted to leave that behind, and she didn't want to be part of the pack. And all I kept thinking was, if I were you, I'd be so immersed in this pack. So yeah, I guess I'll just update you once I am about 100 pages into Ravensong, which actually in this book you follow a witch and a werewolf, which I've read a couple of those in the Stay Spell series, and I love those books. So yeah, I'm just like living my best life, and I'm very happy about it. Okay, so I'm here to give you an update on Ravensong. So I am on page 205, and I'm loving it. Obviously, I'm loving it. If I thought Wolfsong was sad, this is even sadder, because CJ Clune thought, oh, you thought 3 years being apart was bad. Let me give you 2 decades of being apart, which is exactly what this book is. It's the love story between Mark and Gordo. And Gordo, you met both of them in Wolfsong, obviously. Mark is Joe's uncle, and Gordo is Ox's like adoptive dad / brother / friend. They are mates. So Gordo is a witch and Mark is a werewolf. So this is a werewolf witch pairing. They've known they are mates ever since they were teenagers. So you know from Wolfsong that Gordo hates the Bennets, and that, you know, there used to be a thing between him and Mark, but that didn't work out, and the Bennets left him. And in this book, you actually get to see that, and you see that heartbreak. So the Bennets leave him for years, and during that time, he decides that he doesn't want anything to do with Mark, he doesn't want anything to do with the pack, and he doesn't want anything to do with Thomas. Until the events of Wolfsong, which is when he gets roped in again, and he actually goes with Joe and leaves for 3 years. So that is after 2 decades of them not being together. Add on to this time, it's not Mark leaving, it's Gordo leaving. So yeah, heartbreak on top of heartbreak on top of heartbreak. What I really love about this book, however, is that you get to see those moments that you didn't see from Ox's perspective, because Gordo is actually the one, he writes these books with single point of view. So in Wolfsong it was Ox, so when Joe left you didn't see everything that happened. Now this book, it's from Gordo's perspective, so you actually do get to see snippets of when they were gone, which it was heartbreaking, but I did love seeing that. And I did love the tiny pack found family that we got during those parts. What I also really love about this book is that you get flashbacks from when Gordo and Mark first met each other and when he first became the Bennett Witch. So you get to see Thomas as a young man, you get to see Elizabeth, you get to see them starting their family, so you get to see a little baby Carter and a little baby Kelly, which I love those scenes. I love them so much, especially juxtaposing that with Gordo calling Carter and Kelly jackasses when they're actually on the road once they are, in their 20s. And what I also really loved was seeing Gordo's relationship with Chris Stanner and Rico, because in Wolfsong, obviously you knew that they grew up together, but you mainly got to see Ox's relationship with them, and you didn't get to see Gordo's relationship with them, because when we really delved into those relationships is when Gordo was gone. So I really loved seeing them all as teenagers, seeing that found family built, and also seeing them, because they were also very angry at Gordo when he left, seeing those relationships rebuilt. And obviously, TJ Klune just knows how to write heartbreak, because I started tabbing it, and the amount, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a lot of blue in here, and I didn't even tab every blue scene. I was on the train reading a good chunk of this, and there were moments that I thought I was gonna bawl, that I was gonna ugly cry on the train. Thankfully that didn't happen. This, I'm sure, is gonna be a 5-star book. And I know for sure, Wolfsong is already one of my favorite books. This, I think, will 100% be one of my favorite series. Yeah, so TJ Klune has really started writing these cozy fantasies, which I did really love, House in the Cerulean Sea. But to me, honestly, I 100% prefer these books over those other books. So yeah, part of me is sad, but a part of me is also really happy that he at least finished them. It's 4 books, and I'm very much excited to read all of them. And this time, I'm not going to wait 2 years to continue on. I'm definitely going to be reading Love Song and Brother Song these next couple of months. But yeah, I'm just living my best life. And this just proved to me that this series is superior when it comes to werewolf stories. All right, I'm here to give you my final thoughts on Ravensong and end this video. So I really sat on this book for a while. After I finished it, I gave it 5 stars immediately. Then I took the time to really think about it, and I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. Overall, I did really love it. It has a lot of things I really love about Wolfsong. You really see the pack dynamics. You see Gordo's relationship with Ox. You see Gordo's relationship with Chris, Stanner, and Rico. And obviously, Gordo and Mark's story, I was really looking forward to. The only thing that I didn't really love is this didn't really feel like a romance, not like Wolfsong did, because this story is told with flashbacks. And even in flashbacks, I didn't really see them really fall in love. It was just decided they are mates by the universe, and then very close. So this actually resembles Wolfsong very much, because in this book it's Gordo who's very young and it's Mark who's 3 years older. So even though Gordo starts developing feelings, Mark cannot really go there, even though he knows he's his mate. And then around the time Gordo's old enough to finally do something about it, Mark leaves. And then, this book overall just makes me sad, and Wolfsong made me sad as well, but there were a lot of happy moments as well, whereas this is just full on depressing, because this is just not just years wasted, it's decades wasted, and that to me just hurts my heart so much. They meet when Gordo is a young teen, and they finally get together when Gordo is 40 years old. So that is almost 3 decades of them not being together, and it's mainly due to Gordo's stubbornness. Because I get it, listen, when I read Wolfsong, I thought that Ox forgave Joe way too quickly. But ultimately, I was glad he did, because that finally got them together in the end. Whereas in this book, I understood, believe me, I understood how heartbroken Gordo was and how much he wanted to just punish Mark for just leaving him and not choosing him. But at one point, it was just too much. It was too much for me, so therefore I gave it 4.5 stars. All those things combined made me not that invested in the love story, and ultimately this is a love story. Other things I did really love was seeing him and the boys grow up. I do have to say, in this book, Rico kind of annoyed me a little bit. Like, he's become a caricature, and I really hope that that changes in this third and fourth book. I did really love him in the first book. Here, he's just like his one-liners, his jokes. Like I said, it's becoming too much. But like I said, I did really love going back, seeing Gordo as a teenager, seeing Mark very young, seeing Thomas again, seeing them start a family. I did really love that. And obviously I loved seeing Rico, Tanner, Chris, and Gordo as teenagers. Really loved that. And I did really love seeing the few glimpses we got of them loving each other, and him getting the Raven and him getting the Wolf. So yeah, it is still a book in one of my favorite series. But honestly, and I know that this book had a tough hill to climb because Wolfsong, I really do love that book so much. But at the end of the day, it is a 4.5 stars. I would highly recommend it still. And I cannot wait to continue on with this series. Very much looking forward to reading, what's it called? Brother Song and Love Song, I think. That was my week, or not my week, this was my vlog of reading all werewolf stories, and I was living my best life doing it. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were. And if you've not read Wolfsong, I would highly, highly recommend you do so. And I would really love to know what your favorite paranormal creature is. I know a lot of people say vampires, and that's fine, as long as I get all the werewolves. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know by leaving a like if you do. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.